Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back once again. My name is Jordan, also known as J-Monster, and I want to thank you for joining me for another 3rd Age Reforged replay battle, because today I've got something very special for you. I recently commissioned one of our players, Froggy, to make some scenarios for 0.97, because I wanted to show off some of the work that we've all been doing so far. And that is exactly what has happened. He's provided us with, I think, about 5 different scenarios, so you're going to be seeing them coming out both on my channel and the official channel in addition to. I think the majority will be out in the official channel, but I do have special dispensation to put these up on mine as well. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy the 3v2 that I have in front of you. That's one of the things I like about this scenario, is that it's not massive. I find that a lot of the really massive 4v4 scenarios where everyone's got like 50,000 Florin armies, they can drag a bit and they're really laggy, and it's just not as much fun to play or to cast. So this one's going to be a 3 versus 2, and it is on a map that you've never seen before since Froggy created it specially for the scenario. And hopefully we'll be able to see it added to the official list of Reforged maps in patch 0.97. But in any case, I digress. Let's take a look at some of the army comps, then we can jump into the replay. Hope you guys enjoy it. So the first army we're going to look at today is the forces of Rhudaur. In fact, they are all Rhudaur armies, but this one happens to be commanded by yours truly. I've got 3 units of Dunman Hunters, 2 units of Rhudaur Axemen, 2 units of Dunman Pikemen. I believe I've got 4 to 5 units of the Rhudaur Clansmen, 3 or 4 units of Rhudaur Swordsmen, and I think I've got some additional missile units in here as well, 2 units of the Rhudaur Javelins, 1 unit of the Witch Realm Enslavers, a really badass bodyguard unit. The model could use a little bit of work on the helmet, and I think they might be getting a new helmet in 0.97. I'm not 100% sure on that. The lag. Jeez. Every time. And I think that just about does it for my army. It's very mid and lower tier heavy, and a lot of them tend to be, just because I think that makes for more interesting scenarios where not everyone has just a pile of elites to throw against each other. Let's move on now to one of my allies. We have the 2nd Rhudaur army here being commanded by Inksfeds. He's got some Dunman Pikemen in addition to. He's got some Rhudaur Marksmen, I think 2 or 3 units of the Rhudaur Marksmen, 1 or 2 units of the Rhudaur Berserkers, a unit of Rhudaur Nobles in addition to. So this is a Knight unit who are also armor-piercing in melee, not only on the charge, as most Knights tend to be. So very strong, but they do compensate, or rather, I should say, they are balanced by the fact that they have lower defensive stats than your average Knight unit will. Another unit here of the Rhudaur Berserkers, more Dunman Pikemen, yet more Rhudaur Marksmen, a ton of Rhudaur Clansmen here as well. What you're seeing is actually their upgraded armor model. So they've got about 5 armor, something like that. More Rhudaur Clansmen, some Swordsmen here as well, bunch of Rhudaur Swordsmen, some Rhudaur Rangers, more Rhudaur Swordsmen, and a couple units of Dunman Spearmen in addition too, which are very cheap and expendable and great for spearheading pushes with their shield wall. I think that just about does it for Inksfeds' army, so let's move on now to the 3rd and final Rhudaur army. This one being commanded by Tundra's Fox. Tundra's Fox shows up a lot on my channel, very active in the community, so if you guys have questions or concerns, if you join our official Discord and community, well, he's probably one of the players you might want to ask about things. But in any case, I've basically voluntold Tundra's Fox into a community manager role. I apologize for that if you're watching. But yeah, Dunman Scouts here. I think maybe he's got 2 units of Dunman Scouts. Got some Dunman Spearmen in addition to. Rhudaur Axemen. Another company here. Actually, no, this is the first unit we've seen of the Black Wolds. 1 unit of Black Wolds here. Dunman Spearmen. More Rhudaur Axemen. 2nd company of Black Wolds. More Dunman Spearmen. Yeah, there's a 2nd company of Dunman Scouts. Yet more Axemen. Some Rhudaur Javelins. A little bit of a lower end, I would say, Rhudaur army. A lot more skirmishers. A lot more things that are vulnerable to missiles. Some Rhudaur Javelins here, 2 units of the Rhudaur Javs, some Rhudaur Swordsmen, another unit of Rhudaur Swordsmen, Witch Realm Enslavers. Now we're getting into the real meat and potatoes. Rhudaur Berserkers, and another company here of the Rhudaur Swordsmen. So I'm not seeing any Rangers from Tundra's Fox today. So I think we've got maybe 1 unit of Rangers on the field, which is going to be extremely valuable in this kind of fight. But let's move on now and see what the defenders have brought to the battle today. Defending this rather sizable hidden village in the mountains of what I would presume to be Rhudaur, given that Rhudaur seems very, very interested in reclaiming it, or perhaps just claiming it. We have 2 armies, one from Imladris, this one being commanded by D.I., King of the North, or, I don't know, he changes his name so much, I can't really keep up anymore. But this is D.I., if you guys are familiar with the Discord or with the community, you'll know exactly who I'm referring to. He's got some Eldar Quinga, 2 units here of the Eldar Quinga, without their armor upgrades, unfortunately. 1 unit of the Eldarinwi Heru Hatal, a couple units of Imlandra's Blade Masters, got some Godalim Aniaur, some Imlandra Sentries, I think a couple units of the Imlandra Sentries here. Eldarinwi Heru Quinga, they are no joke. I know he's got some Noriterno Archers as well. Very archer-heavy force, a couple units of the Eldarinwi Heru Hatal. Not really going to see this many Noldor in one place in your regular battle, so yeah, bear that in mind. Got some Eldarinwi Heru Masil over here, the heavy 2-handed variant. Eldar Itar, a couple companies. I got some Noriterno Warriors, more Eldarinwi Heru Masil. Noriterno Warriors, 3 companies of Noriterno Warriors, more Heru Hatal, and Imlandra Sentries. I think that just about does it for DI's army. Let's move on down to his ally, being commanded by Mech Dwelling, or Dwelling. He's got some Minas Tirith Archers, who, by the way, are going to be getting new helmets, I believe, in the new patch. A little bit more fitting of the inheritors of the legacy of Elendil. They now look like true Numenorians. You can see a little bit more about that on our ModDB page, which is linked down in the description. Go and check it out. There's lots of cool stuff. In any case, Minas Tirith Archers, 1 unit of Hearthguard of Al-Mansul, Minotaur Roman Guardians, Minas Tirith Sharpshooters, a lot of Sharpshooters. And I think the Sharpshooters are also getting the new helmets in addition to. Minas Tirith Archers, got some Tharbad Warhammers here. Minas Tirith Swordsmen, more Minas Tirith Swordsmen, yet more Sharpshooters. Dunedain Captains, and some more Minas Tirith Swordsmen. And it is worth noting that the Minas Tirith Swordsmen are actually pretty damned good. I believe in this version they've got 9 shield, 4 melee defense, 9 armor, and like 6 attack. So they're a solid melee infantry unit. The only thing that they lack is morale, because, well, they're Cardolan, and that's just how Cardolan happens to play. Moving on now, Minas Tirith Spearmen, AP for the purposes of this battle, by the way. Something to note. 1, 2, 3 units of the Minas Tirith Spearmen, and then we got another company of Tharbad Warhammers, Minas Tirith Archers, who are going to be replaced eventually with a new Tharbad unit, which I can't really talk too much about, because I don't really know anything about them yet. Got some Royal Court of House Rhudaur, and some Dunedain Commanders. Can be important units for keeping the rank and file of the Cardolan army in line. I think that does it. No, we got another company of the Minas Tirith Archers over here. Don't know if I mentioned them. Very skirmish heavy, but still very strong. Especially with the fortifications that they have. There's only, I think, 2 entrances. 1 here, 1 on the other side, and then some secret ones that you'll learn about a little bit later. Which makes it quite difficult for the lightly armored forces of Rhudaur to make any real gains. So it will be interesting to see how we get around this. But in any case, let's jump into the replay. So in advance of my army, in order to screen my troops as they move forward, I brought forward all of my companies of Dunman Hunters and a couple units of Spears, just in case. I am very well aware of the fact that Cardolan and Imladris both have some cavalry. How can they not? Imladris definitely specializes in their cavalry wing, and Cardolan has some pretty fearsome picks as well in the form of the Dunedain Commanders and the Royal Court of House Rhudaur. So, just being a little bit prudent here, bringing up some of my spearmen and a company of my javelins as well. In the event that these cavalry do come out, I want to be able to punish them as much as I can. Moving forward again with my Rhudaur Hunters, trying to get myself into range. I think DI is going to be moving up some of his Elven Archers up onto this hillside some way. Yes, indeed, here they come. Got some Heru Quinga. They're going to be followed up with some Noriterno Warriors. This is going to be a massacre. The defenders are going to be able to hold out here for quite some time with their fortifications and with their missile units. Engsvitz is moving over to immediately support me, so that we're able to put a ton of pressure on this line. I'm going to be the first one into the battle, however. Engsvitz's Hereditary Noble is going to be a welcome sight over here in the event of some cavalry, or if they try to flank us coming out from maybe one of the postern gates in the on the map. Again, this is our first time playing on it, so we didn't really know what to expect about the map. So, yeah, we're just being cautious. As cautious as we possibly can be. Dunman Hunters getting as close as I dare to get them. Not really a whole lot of good targets here, but you can see some of the cavalry moving forward. Imladris Sentinels immediately coming out this gate, and they're going to be a problem for my Dunman Hunters, who seem to be shooting at them, or shooting at something. I think they're going after the Dunedain Rangers for sure. I'm going to draw them back and bring my spears forward so I can use the momentum of these Imladris Sentinels against them, and hopefully draw them onto my spears. The King of the North, however, is having none of it, is going to immediately retreat. Cardolan, however, they want a peace. Dunedain Commanders sallying forth, and I'm immediately going to move forward and get my Rhudaur clansmen into a fight against the Dunedain Commanders. I am going to suffer on the charge, as you would expect. The Lancers are quite devastating against infantry. However, this is not going to be a fun exchange for them, and I will be able to fire into the Dunedain commanders, do a lot of damage to them. Over here, my clansmen blocking a charge from the Royal Court of House of Rhudaur, skewering at least one of those nobles of Cardolan. However, the rest are going to be forced to retreat in a hail of arrows as the Rhudain nobles are brought forth. And now we're going to be able to bottle up our enemies, and there's not a whole lot that they can do about it. Dunedain Rangers in a great position to cover the gatehouse. However, this does open them up to some enfilading fire, so I'm going to begin to focus down on them with everything I have at my disposal. Cardolan moving forward now with some of their skirmishers. Got a couple companies here of the Minas Tirith archers in a great position to get up on top of the on the walls here and give me really, really hell. I can't do a ton against them because I would be firing basically indirectly at them anyway, but also they're heavily armored and they have about 4 or 5 shield values, something like that. So, not easy for me to get around. So certainly outgunned here. It's going to be down to my Rhudaur forces to try and muscle their way in. But Wardens of Tir Gorthad, who apparently I missed in the army introduction section, have been brought forward alongside some Minas Tirith spearmen. So we got pikes and AP spears here. This is going to be ugly. This is going to be a war of attrition, absolutely. My forces are going to take just absolutely horrendous losses as they try to move in. Let's take a look at what's going on over here, though. It seems as though Engsvitz, in his infinite wisdom... where are they? A little bit of lag there. Has, in fact, found a way around... or rather, this is Tundra's Fox, I believe, has found a way around the back of the Citadel. There is an option to come through here and circumvent some of the defenses that the defenders have set up. And again, we're all playing on the map for the first time. So this is actually a pretty significant breakthrough. So we've got at least one route to bypass our enemy's defenses right here. And I believe Engsvitz is going to be the first to find another. If you look up here, yes, you can already see him moving his Rhudaur marksman up this way. It is actually possible to pass through this this mountain pass here and get on top and gain that height advantage over the defenders, who at the moment are skirmishing with, I believe, my own forces. And there's not really a ton that I can do to be to counter that. Cardolan, for the time being, gets to dictate the terms of the engagement. I have to come to them, and I have to walk into the teeth of their archers. But thankfully, due to the presence of mind of my allies, we do have a few more options other than simply walking into the meat grinder. I'm going to go ahead, fast forward things just a little bit. See over here, some Dunmen spearmen looking for another way in. DI marauding around with his Melandra sentinels, looking for an opportunity. Any sort of broken advance will be greatly punished by a unit of cavalry like that. So Tundra's Fox is going to have to be very cautious as he moves forward. Let's pop on over to this side. See some of my Rhudaur clansmen filtering out through the gates. Really want to get like a good shot of this, of them coming through that gatehouse. All my forces are being prepared in here very quickly. Got a second company of Rhudaur swordsmen that I brought forward as well, so that I can support this push. Rhudaur clansmen now in shield wall. Let's do it. Let's get into this. It seems like maybe some troops here have managed to... oh, I see what they're doing. They're going up the conventional way. Tundra's Fox didn't find any other means of getting into the getting around the defenders' choke points, so he's gonna go for the frontal approach. Over on our end, however, I'm massing my forces here, and Engsvitz has discovered the passage around. So we're going to attack at the same time from 2 different angles. That's going to be a big problem for Cardolan. Here comes the rush. Got my Ferodrum javelins moving forward, trying to surprise my enemy and expose myself to the least amount of fire possible. These Grithan archers moving up there, but I am going to get a volley off before they can do anything into the Wardens of Tir Gorthad and the Minas Tirith spearmen. Companies of crossbows, however, at least one company of Minotaur Roman guardians backed up with some Minas Tirith archers, firing indiscriminately into my Ferodrum javelins. Get a shot of that. Ferodrum javelins returning fire. Thankfully, the damage has been fairly limited thanks to the building. But quite a number, at least a dozen or two of my men have been cut down. And now the assault begins. The Rhudaur clansmen charging forward out of this gatehouse and directly into the arms of the Cardolan army. Fortunately, there is no other means. My ally Engsfitz very wisely choosing a different route. Got a lot of archers up here and some infantry as well. This is going to be a bit of a surprise for the Cardolan player. Got my Dunman hunters moving through. Thinking about maybe using them to skirmish in this small, narrow area, but it would certainly be the end of my Dunman skirmishers if I did. Rhudaur swordsmen charging in. I really want a good shot here. And there you have it, our thumbnail. It's beautiful. And the Wardens of Tyr and Gorthad and the Minas Girthan Spearmen are going to be able to hold this choke point all day. I'm going to try and mass push with my Spearmen, try and get in close against the Wardens of Tyr and Gorthad, kill as many of them as possible. The Minas Girthan Spearmen, I know I can overwhelm with some sword units, but the Wardens of Tyr and Gorthad are certainly the biggest threat. I want to try and neutralize them as quickly as possible. Engsfitz is now drawn back, I believe, with both his Rangers and with his Minas Girthan archers. He's going to move them down here to try and focus on this blob of forces, the most immediate threat, which is a prudent thing to do, but I don't think he's realized exactly what Engsfitz is up to. All these units now very tired, however, from the climb, but they have certainly made it over. And all I have to do on my end is just keep my enemy busy. Frautum Javelins have now moved forward, trying to get a cheeky volley off, but unfortunately having their line of sight blocked by this many Rhudaur swordsmen has prevented them from doing so. Trying to get my Rhudaur swordsmen to, like, walk through, but it's not really working out terribly well for me. Instead, they're just kind of walking around and dying. Balance of forces evenly matched. The numbers seem to be playing against the Wardens of Tyr and Gorthad, but now that many of my Spearmen are dead and I don't have a replacement company nearby, that percentage I expect will start to even out a little bit more. Moving on over to this side. The Rhudaur forces have wisely taken shelter in this very sheer cliff face, but Imladris is going to be able to move around with their many skirmishers and take that safety away from them. Although, it is worth noting that DI needs to be a little bit more observant here with how the archers are working, many of them firing straight down into the rocks here. It's not really going to net him a whole ton of kills. I think he's going after the Witch Realm and Slavers, not a bad idea. But I think maybe one arrow in like 3 is managing to get through. So it's not as devastating as it could be. But still, this is going to be a hell of a fight for Tundra's Fox. Going to be fighting uphill here against some of the best Elven units in the game. The Noldor are no joke. Our swordsmen making first contact with the Noldor, diving in fearlessly like the mad berserkers they are. The Heru Hatal, however, while they are few, they are disciplined, well-trained, and well-armed. It's going to be no problem for them to deal with this first wave, though the Angmar and Slavers will probably cause them some troubles. Jumping on over to the other side. My assault is still underway, but you can see I've taken some pretty serious damage here, and like I expected, the Wardens of Tyr, Gorthad, and friends are slowly but surely pulling it back. I brought in some Dunman hunters, trying to put some pressure on the back lines here. I think I'm actually going after some of their cavalry, some of their important units. Giving some nice rear shots against the Royal Court of House of Rhudaur and the Dunite commanders. And now Engsfitz has arrived on scene. Minas Girthan archers being silenced. Got some Dunite rangers here being chased out of position by the Rhudaur swordsmen. Minas Girthan spearmen being brought forward to answer this threat. Well, this is a problem. Now Engsfitz has a way around their defenses. If we had both charged into this choke point, they probably could have held us there all day. But some hidden points of crossing for observant players were added by Froggy, which is why I like this map so much. Your first time playing on it is probably the best time you'll have. Some Dunman spearmen here from Engsfitz putting pressure on the Cardolan left as they muscle their way through here. The Thorabide Warhammers and the Wardens of Tyr and Gorthad doing their best to hold the line. Rhudaur clansmen coming in from the rear now, and this defense runs the risk of being completely surrounded. However, Cardinal still has a hand to play. A lot of skirmishers. The archers seem to be charging or firing into over here. I see what they're going after. Cavalry being brought to bear against the Rhudaur swordsmen, who are now on the verge of routing. Rhudaur clansmen going to charge forward and silence the Minas Tirith archers. They are being shot, however, on the flank by more of the archers. Minotaur Roman Guardians, no joke right there. However, some of the spearmen have managed to break their way through. See me coming in with some more reinforcements alongside Engsvitz, who's brought some of his Rhudaur marksmen forward out of ammunition. More Rhudaur swordsmen just to keep this side of the line occupied. Of course, I still got my archers in the back here as well. And we've got reserves. We've got vast numbers at our command. So far, it's pretty even, although the defenders are ahead by a small margin of 2%. But this area is thoroughly overrun, thanks to the observational prowess of Engsvitz. I honestly had no idea that was there, or even to look for it. So, gotta say, I was impressed with him using terrain the way that he has. DI moving in with the Elder Enemy Hedu Hatal, who are forming up a second line of defense here that some of the defenders can fall back to if they need it. We got this big V-shape formation here, which is going to lend itself quite nicely to us being surrounded and also peppered with missiles. But still, the battle rages on. Cardinal and Rhudaur are bitter enemies. Cardinal and Imladris certainly have the advantage at this point. You can see some breaking here as the Dunman Spearmen flee from the field. Rhudaur clansmen not doing well at all. Surrounded, attacked on the wing. They're not having fun and they're about to break. Over on this side, Rhudaur forces sort of holding their ground for the time being. I wonder what's happening over here. Blade Masters have been brought forward, and the men of Rhudaur are throwing their lives away in what appears to be a vain attempt to break through. So many archers, so much quality infantry being brought to bear. The Elves of Imladris will be able to hold this all day. Even the mighty Witch Realm enslavers down to a mere shadow of their former strength, thanks to the skirmishing power of the Elves of Imladris, which, it must be said, is probably the least of any elven skirmishing force. Still a lot of reserves here too. Any Rhudaur forces that come through this gate are going to be in for a nasty surprise. Let's pop back over to this end. The forces of Rhudaur are slowly making gains. Engsvitz has just been pouring reinforcements over the hill, keeping the defenders busy in many places. Dunine captains being shot by, I think, some of my javelins. My Ferratum javelins, I think, got a nice shot off there into the Dunine captains. Minotaur Roman Guardians caught in melee, now retreating. Dunine captains rushing in to take their place on the line, as the Rhudaur swordsmen pressure the Minas Tirith spearmen and the archers. Meanwhile, on my end, with the help of Engsvitz, we've managed to bust our way through. Dunman pikemen being brought in. This is going to be the decisive moment to bring in pikemen. I think most of their skirmishers are either in retreat or out of ammunition, so our lightly armored, unshielded pikes are going to be in a good position to actually be able to do their job. Witch Realm enslavers here as well, from myself, pushing forward, trying to get a piece of the Minas Tirith archers, trying to do everything that they can to keep these pikes in the fight. Dunine captains locked in mortal combat here with the far more maneuverous Rhudaur swordsmen, but I think their fighting skill will be enough to see them through this engagement, assuming they don't get surrounded by some more reinforcements. I'm bringing in some more Rhudaur swordsmen as well to support the pike push of my ally here. The enslavers hacking their way through the Minas Tirith archers, but they are easy prey right now for many of the sharpshooters and the Minotaur Roman Guardians. Those crossbows are nasty, and they're being used to great effect against my poor Witch Realm enslavers. Yeah, look at that. Look at the missile power that the defenders have at their disposal. Over here, DI's Spearman says that they are losing this fight. Although it's kind of bouncing back and forth between balance is evenly matched and defeat is certain. But the swordsmen that I have are going to be no match for the elite Elder Enemy Hedu Hatal. And still, the Wardens of Tirn Gothrad stand firm. So the fight is not anywhere near over yet. Now, my ally Engsvitz has brought in a unit of Rhudaur Berserkers. Not sure what he's going for. Ooh. Might be going after the Minas Grithlin sharpshooters, but I think he's just hitting some of my own units. Oh yeah, he's definitely hitting some of my troops in the back. Some reinforcements being rushed forward. Some Minas Grithlin sharpshooters, I think, might be being committed to the fight here. My Witch Roman slavers being massacred by missile fire, both from on high up there. You can see some Eldarin Wehadu Quinga, and also the crossbow units available for Cardlin down here on the ground. Tharbad Warhammers pressuring my heavily armored Witch Roman slavers as well. I'm going to try and get them out of there because that is my general's bodyguard. So you're going to see a very hasty retreat. Just going to leave many of these Rhudaur forces kind of stranded. Luckily, Engsfit's coming in with some of his Rhudaur swordsmen. We just need numbers. Numbers on the line so far to hold on to the gains that we've made. Moving forward with my Ferrodrum Javelins. Trying to use some of the chaos as cover to get them into an advantageous position. You can already see my enemies beginning to fire at my Ferrodrum Javelins. They might not be able to get anything done. Passing on over to this side. Rhudaur has just been massacred. And DI is now free to shift some of his forces, I think, over to help out his ally. You can see that is indeed what he's doing. Eldar Itar being brought forward. I think the remnants of the Blade Masters are holding their position, but DI certainly has a lot of options. And there goes my general, killed by Noldor. Not a inglorious way to go, but still not ideal for my Rhudaur army. Luckily, they have quite high armor, or rather morale values across the board, so it's not going to be a disaster, as it would be with Mordor or the Misty Mountains, but still, it sucks. Target Fox's, the majority of his Rhudaur units seem to be holding position. He's just waiting for, maybe for DI to pull off some more of his units before he begins his assault, very patiently waiting for an opportunity to move in against the defenders. Meanwhile, the defenders are holding firm, but only just. You can see some of my clansmen have now charged into the Minas Grithlin spearmen, using that shield wall to muscle their way through. Break up that line and silence as many of these crossbow units as we can. Meanwhile, more units being brought in, some Bardian marksmen, some Rhudaur marksmen. I've committed, I think, the rest of my infantry forward. My Ferrodrum Javelins now out of ammunition. Maybe they have a little bit left. I'm trying to get them out of there. Still so many skirmishers that are able to focus them down. Let's get right in there and just watch some of the visceral combat that Medieval 2 was so famed for. Yeah, both sides. These are brother or sister kingdoms. They used to be allied, and now are the bitterest of enemies. The Dunedain captain fighting against their fallen brethren from Rhudaur. Herenadine berserkers representing some of the few remaining Dunedain that have clearly fallen to darkness from the Rhudaur faction, leading the way alongside the Rhudaur swordsmen. Ooh, that guy with his scythe, literally he has become death. Cracking open the skull of a Rhudaur archer and getting killed himself just moments later. It was a damn fine battle. But the numbers of Rhudaur are beginning to tell. This is two armies here against one and some elements of DI's and Mladra's force. Now the defenders have been swept away. 46 to 48. Still very, very even between both sides. Grithlin sharpshooters doing what they can alongside the Minotaur Roman Guardians. Trying to punish this blob here. Seems to be working reasonably well, but Engsfit's going to push through with his Herenadine Berserkers. Not content to simply wait back. There's not enough of the Tharbad Warhammers to really hold them back at this point. They're just going to push through the thin line and move to take on the Minotaur Roman Guardians and the sharpshooters in close quarters, where these Berserkers will certainly have the edge. They're 14 or 15 melee damage. Rhudaur clansmen moving in as well, and now these Grithlin sharpshooters and Roman Guardians are pretty well surrounded. Reinforcements being brought forward, however, in the form of the Eldarin Wehadu Masil and the Minas Grithlin swordsmen. Eldar Itar fighting against the clansmen here, but it's been pretty even on both sides. Both the clansmen and the Eldar Itar have essentially wiped each other out, which is about what you'd expect from a lower tier Elven Spear unit. And now the defending lines have been reinforced for a third time. And Rhudaur's advance has been stopped in its tracks. It seems like maybe Rhudaur is moving up again. What do you know? It looks like they found a way around, and they've caught DI kind of sleeping here. Indeed, Thunderous Fox was waiting for him to move off more of his forces so that he didn't have a repeat of what happened last time. Thunderous Fox certainly learned his lesson from this first disastrous probing assault on DI's defenses, and now he's managed to find a way to get in force before DI is able to react. And that, I think, might be a decisive moment in this battle. The Hillmen of Rhudaur screaming through the defenses, charging at the noble elves of Imladris. There's only so much the DI can do over here. I don't think he has any of his cavalry left. I think it might have got destroyed outside the settlement. Didn't really see what happened to it. Imladris sentries being brought forward, but the Elder Inui Hedu Hatal and Hedu Masil being brought back. And they're going to form up, I believe, alongside these archers here, who are being relentlessly charged, while the Dunmen scouts and try and form a final line of defense. Go the Limaini Hour, focusing down on the Dunmen scouts. You know, the Elder Inui Hedu Hatal trying to chase them out of position. Seems like the Dunmen scouts not done yet. Oh, the poor Elder Quinga. Getting charged down by those cavalry. Rhudaur swordsmen trying to block the advance of DI's forces, preventing reinforcements from reaching the muster point. Elder Inui Hedu Masil, however, are in a good spot. Dunmen scouts, ooh, being hemmed in by Elder Inui Hedu Hatal and maybe the Hedu Masil. Oh, rear charge into the Eldar Quinga. Oh, the lances didn't drop though, so it's not as bad as it might have been. And the Elder Quinga will be able to bring that back in close quarters. It's just the charge of the Dunmen scouts that can be particularly devastating. Both sides muddied and bloodied. I'm gonna go for another one. Don't think they're gonna get the charge that they need. I think some reinforcements being brought down from the hills now. Got some Elder Inui Hedu Quinga. There's still some Northern warriors up here who are no joke in melee as well. And let's see what the defender's able to hold. Yeah, it seems that Rhudaur has run into a wall again. Well, the two Rhudaur forces over here, they're all Rhudaur. Rhudaur swordsmen running out of steam against their Cardolan brothers. Especially backed up with the cavalry. Not the most effective charge. Definitely should have been going for a rear charge, or even trying to silence some of the units here, like the Herenidine Berserkers or the Herenidine Rangers are an obvious target. And what do we got here? Dunai Commanders trying to pull through, trying to get into the Rangers, managing to get off a decent charge there. But the Nobles, I think, are going to be able to come in from behind. Well, potentially. Yeah, the Herenidine Rangers should certainly be a top priority target here for Cardolan. No lance charge the second time, however, and the Herenidine Rangers are pretty decent in close quarters, about 11 or so damage and okay melee attack or melee defense values. So they're no slouches. You need the charge to get through it. Now the Herenidine Nobles have come in from the rear, and this is going to be the last stand of the Dunai Commanders. There goes the Dunai General, which I realize looks like an England General. It's a bug we're currently having on 0.97. It will be fixed for release, don't you worry. And the Dunai Commanders have met a glorious end at the hands of both the Herenidine Rangers and the Herenidine Nobles. Although the infantry fight could certainly have gone better for us. If we take a look at things here, just look at the destruction that was caused. A lot of dead forces on either side, although the majority are certainly wearing that distinctive brown of Rhudaur. Dunmen Hunters being brought up to a good position to fire down into the remaining defenders. Hearthguard of Amonsul have been brought forward. That means that the Cardolan defenders are not going to be routing anytime soon. Plus 5 morale in 100 meters to all nearby friendly units. Berserkers cutting a bloody swath through the ranks of the Hearthguard, however. Along with the Minotaur Roman Guardians, the defenders will not be able to stand for too much longer. Meanwhile, over here, it seems that the Elves and Marauders have managed to get things under control and have defeated this push from Tundra Fox's army. Bit of lag there. I think maybe there's some fighting down here. Yes, they've pushed them all the way out, almost into the forest surrounding the settlement. Now the Axemen And I think there's some swordsmen mixed in there as well. I've run afoul of the Elder and Hedu Hatal backed up with some out-of-ammunition Eldar Quinga. That's going to be a fight the Elves of Imladris win every day. I don't think there's a ton left from Tundra's Fox at this point. And it seems like DI is now free to be able to shift his attention to the other side. As for our armies, we're not looking so great. 80 to 70 right now. A 10% difference between our two forces. Diamond Hunters firing down as we try desperately to deal with the remaining defenders before DI is able to get in here and cause more problems for us. Got my heavy axemen, who I held in reserve for just such an opportunity, charging into the Minotaur Roman Guardians. And the few remaining defenders here are being swiftly cut down. I think I sent my second unit into the front of the Garithlin Swordsmen along with my pikemen, who have now been brought forward. That's pretty well the end of Dwelling's Cardolan army. I think this is the hill that he chose to die on, and I don't think there's any Cardolan forces still remaining living within the settlement. Yeah, the last stand of the Cardolan commanders alongside the Minotaur Roman Guardians. Only a matter of time before they are surrounded and completely slain, but that does not seem to matter to these brave warriors of the north. They're going to stand their ground and fight for every inch of ground in the settlement. Now let's see what the elves have left. Well, someone's general just died. I think that was the Cardolan general. Ooh, these Rhudaur forces have been swiftly slain, and now DI is free to form up at his leisure. I don't think Tundra's Fox has anything left over at this point. Maybe. What do we got here? Some Rhudaur swordsmen charging down against the Eldar Quinga. They're trying to get themselves out of there. However, Tundra's Fox does still have a hand to play. Got some elites here in the form of the Herenidine Berserkers, some axemen, some swordsmen, mixed elements, or a ragtag crew of what remains of his army. They're going to be able to surround these reinforcements, so DI is going to be even more short-handed. This is a bit of a disaster for DI's defense. If he was able to bring everything together, he might be able to kind of withstand the storm. Ooh, what do we got over here? Oh, nasty. The Eldarin Hedu Masil being cut down by the Ferodrum Javelins of Tundra's Fox. Ooh, so nasty. Most of that unit just evaporated. Blade Master units are particularly vulnerable to this. DI firing back with whatever he's got, but it's not going to be enough. Eldarin Hedu Quinga, now the subject of the tender mercies of the Ferodrum Javelins, I think are now out of ammunition. So the worst is over, but damn was that devastating. That was a loss that DI really could not afford to take. Larger sentries about to be attacked in the rear as the victorious forces from both Engsfitz and myself are now chasing the fleeing defenders of Cardolan into the town center. Look at the destruction here. I think most of my army at this point consists of some Dunman Hunters. I'm using to wipe out a pocket of Imlandra's Blade Masters here. And some Dunman Pikemen. The Dunman Pikemen are my two healthiest units still left over. So my army is essentially gone. But we've certainly managed to inflict disproportionate casualties on the defenders. It really came down to that very sneaky javelin volley there from these Ferodrum Javelins. Ooh. The Eldar are trying to get in there. But yeah, the Ferodrum Javelins were able to get up another volley. Now they're out of ammunition, charging into the rear of the Eldarin Hedu Quinga. And DI's formidable standing army is being destroyed piecemeal. And I think that might be game over, though DI does still have a hand to play. Got some Eternal Warriors up there. Some pretty tough units. The Blade Masters are no joke. They should be able to hack down even 67 Herenidine Berserkers. Larger sentries holding their ground against the Axemen. It's really hard to tell. If my Axemen can't wrap around them, the increased range of the sentries will simply destroy my poor axes. Up here, Engsfitz, the Rhudaur marksman squaring off against Godalim Einiauer, and some Eldarin is Eldar Quinga? Yes. We're going to have no problem dealing with these guys. A little bit of bow support here. I think they're taking pot shots at my poor Dunman pikemen, who are now down nearly a quarter of the unit, I believe. Oh no. DI certainly recognizes the threat represented by the Dunman Pikeman. He's going to do his best to minimize that. There's not really a whole lot I can do. I don't think I have any missile units left. I'm just throwing everything I got there. A vast horde of reinforcements from both myself and Engsfitz moving in. I think I still got a second company here of the Rhudaur Javelins, however. Yes. The juiciest target I can find is the Nocturnal Warriors. So here it comes. Oof. A lot of dead Nocturnal Warriors. Another volley following that up. I think this is the point where my Rhudaur Javelins run out of ammunition and maybe charge in. Nope, actually they're going to try and get back and fire another volley off at the Nocturnal Warriors. But Nocturnal Warriors going to give pursuit. My Rhudaur Javelin's going to be on the run. Over here, the Elder Enway units holding their ground mightily against my Axemen. Not a whole lot that I can do here. Slowly but surely, my Rhudaur forces are being beaten back. 94 to 81%. But still, the outnumbered elves fight on. And they're doing a lot of damage. Look at this. Rhudaur Javelins not being able to hack their way through the Elder Enway Heduquinga. Even with the support of the Dunman Spearmen, these elven elites are still holding the line, still inflicting damage. Gonna move in now with my pikes, try and help my ally out. It's definitely gonna be needed. These the Elder Enway Hedumasil plus the Heduquinga will be able to hold long enough for these Heduhatal to deal with my Axemen. I know that once they move in, we're gonna have to commit our pikes, otherwise we won't be able to defeat them. If they surround one of my pike units, they will destroy them quickly. Let's see, Heronite Berserkers over here fighting against Hedumasil and Imlogis Blade Masters, along with some Heronite Rangers. The elves are outnumbered, but damn are they doing damage. This small number of elves has managed to do like 2% damage to, I think, 3 different armies. Heduhatal chasing my Rhudaur Axemen away. My second company is about to be attacked from the rear. Elder Enway charging in there, screaming, "Witness me!" As my Axemen try to countercharge. Well, they're going to take a lot of damage really quickly, though. Very low melee defense on these units. Some missile units as well, I think. Probably some of our own missile units hitting my troops. And there goes the Elven General. But my Axemen are going to rout off nonetheless. Did an alright amount of damage to the Elder Enway Heduhatal. God, those Elven units are a nightmare to say. Black Wolds fighting against the Goldly Mighty Hour, who are holding their ground mightily. I'm going to bring forward... Oh, this is Thunderous Fox bringing forward some of his Rhudaur Javelins. I'm coming back with my own. Presumably we destroyed the Nocturno at some point here. There's still a reasonable amount of Rhudaur troops left, but this was a 2v3, which is not something we tend to balance around. Scenarios are for fun, not for balance usually. And it really worked out quite nicely for those two units. Cardalin and Imladris together killing 84% of our combined armies, of which were extremely numerous. Go the Limani Hour from DI, falling back, regrouping and forming up for another charge. Oh, trying to get a piece of the Rhudaur Javelins from Thunderous Fox. Stop them from throwing. I think this is going to be where they make their final stand. Gonna go ahead and fast forward just a little bit. More and more Rhudaur units pour in food for the meat grinder that is the Godali Mani Hour. But ultimately, the valiance of these elves is going to be in vain. There's just far too many of the wild berserkers from the hills of Rhudaur for them to handle on their own. Really 28 or so remaining in the unit. One of them just got knocked down. Being helped up by some of his friends on the back lines. That's what it looked like anyway. And slowly, the Rhudaur forces tightening the noose. And it won't be long for the Goldali Mighty Hour fighting back to back. This is going to be it right here. swept away by the endless tide of Rhudaur. The Goldelimaini are clawing to life, taking as many of them with them as they can. But ultimately, this hidden settlement is going to fall. Its entire population massacred, put to the sword. Alright, let's go ahead and fast forward it now. Just a couple of them left. It's the last guy. And there you have it. 85% to 100. Still very fun. Let's look at the kills that they got. 35, nearly 3,600 kills for Cardalin in a defensive role. Not bad. I think our buffs for Cardalin have worked out quite nicely. The high elves as well. Very, very strong. Nearly 4,300. The rest of us not getting nearly that many. We've gotten less than, most of us got less than half. I think the 1,300 was me. The bottom one there was Tundra's Fox, and then Engsfitz came in with 1,722. Engsfitz definitely the MVP in this battle, especially on my side. If we had to walk through that Crucible through only one pass, I think we would have been massacred. There wouldn't have been a whole lot we could do about it. But as it was, Engsfitz using his cunning and getting around the defenders, surprising them. Defenders still held on mightily for quite a while. Hope you guys have enjoyed this scenario. And again, scenarios are for fun. This is a 3 versus 2 kind of scenario. And it's not necessarily always going to be the most balanced thing in the world. We do our best, but we do kind of operate from the assumption that people will be playing with similar sized teams for the most part. So yeah, just enjoy it. Enjoy it for what it is. But in any case, my name is Jordan, also known as J Monster. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye!